Hey everyone, welcome to Simplilearn's YouTube channel. In this session, we will learn about the most important build tool in Devops, which is Maven. But before we begin, let me tell you guys that we have daily updates on multiple technologies. If you're a tech geek in a continuous hunt for latest technological trends, then consider getting subscribed to our YouTube channel and don't forget to hit that bell icon to never miss an update from Simplilearn. Now without further ado, let's get started with the agenda for today's session. First, we will get started by understanding a brief introduction to the Maven build tool. Followed by that, we will understand the installation of Maven build tool on the operating systems like Windows, Linux, and Mac operating system. Then we will have a Maven project built in the most important and topmost used Eclipse IDE. Followed by that, we will understand Maven and Jenkins integration. And finally, we will understand the critical differences between the top trending build tools, which are the Maven and Gradle. I hope I made myself clear with the agenda. Having said, back to our training session. Now, over to our training experts.
What is Maven? If we talk in the literal sense, Maven means accumulator of knowledge. Maven is a very powerful project management tool, or we can call it a build tool, that helps building, documenting, and managing a project. But before we move forward and dive deep into the basics of Maven, let's understand what is meant by the term build tool. A build tool takes care of everything for building a project. It generates a source code, generates documentation from a source code, it even compiles the source code, and packages the compiled codes into jar of zip files. Along with that, the build tool also installs the packaged code in local repository, server repository, or central repository. Coming back to Maven, it is written in Java or C#, and it is based on Project Object Model or POM. Again, let's have a pause and understand what is meant by this term Project Object Model. A Project Object Model or POM is a building block in Maven. It is an XML file that contains information about the project and configuration details used by Maven to build a project. This file resides in the base directory of the project as pom.xml file. The POM contains information about the project and various configuration details. It also includes the goals and plugins used by Maven in a project. Maven looks for the POM in the current directory while executing a task or a goal. It reads the POM, gets the needed configuration information, and then runs the goal. Coming back, Maven is used to building and managing any Java-based project. It simplifies the day-to-day work of Java developers and helps them in their projects. Now, when we know the basics of Maven, let's have a look at some reasons to know why is Maven so popular and why are we even talking about it. So, let's have a look at the need for Maven. Maven, as by now we know, is popularly used for Java-based projects. It helps in downloading libraries or jar files used in the project. To understand the part of why do we use Maven or the need of Maven, let's have a look at some problems that Maven solved. The first problem is getting the jar files. In a project, getting the right jar files is a difficult task, where there could be conflicts in the versions of the two separate packages. However, it makes sure all the jar files are present in its repositories and avoid any such conflicting scenarios. The next problem it sorted was downloading dependencies. We needed to visit the official website of different software, which could be a tedious task. Now, instead of visiting individual websites, we could visit mvnrepository.com, which is a central repository of the jar files. Then Maven plays a vital role in the creation of the right project structure in servlets, struts, etc. Otherwise, it won't be executed. Then Maven also helps to build and deploy the project so that it may work properly. So the next point is what exactly Maven does. It makes the building of the project easy The task of downloading the dependencies and jar files that were to be done manually can now be done automatically. All the information that is required to build the project is readily available now. Finally, Maven helps manage all the processes such as building, documenting, releasing, and other methods that play an integral part in managing a project. Now, when we know everything about Maven, let's look at some companies that use Maven. There are over 2000 companies that use Maven today. The companies that use Maven are mostly located in the United States and in the computer science industry. Maven is also used in industries other than computer science, like information technology and services, financial service, banking, hospital and care, and much more. Some of the biggest corporations that use Maven are as follows. First we have Via Varejo, then comes Accenture, followed by JP Morgan Chase and Company, then comes Craftbase, and finally we have Red Hat.
To talk about it, how exactly we can do the installation of Maven. So first of all, we'll do it on the Windows platform here, and we'll see that how the installation really works. So for this one, I will be doing the installation into my local system. Now before even going for Maven, Maven is a kind of a build tool which is available there, primarily for performing any kind of build automation for the Java based projects. Now since it's used for Java, we also require the JDK installation onto our system. So for that, both of the installations we will be covering over here, and we'll see that how the installation really works as such over here. Right, so before even going for Maven, we have to install the JDK onto our Windows machine so that we can proceed with Maven, because Maven requires the JDK installations to be there. Now there are two ways of JDK installation. Either you go for the exe file, or you extract the binaries of JDK to a directory and then set up the java_home path for that. But if you are using the executable, that will perform the path configurations for you also. So in that case, you don't have to reconfigure it again and again. So that's what we are going to see here. So first of all, we will try to do the installation of JDK. So for that, we'll go to the website of JDK, and then we have to click on this one to access the Maven installations part here. So that's what we are going to do. So let's proceed, and let's open the Chrome and try to go through these two URLs so that we can do the installations one by one. So here I have to just search for JDK 8 download. So it will show me the URL for oracle.com. So here you will get the JDK for the different platforms, for different operating systems. Now here what you can see here that you have the configurations in which you have the JDK installation. So we have to here I'll go for the Windows 64 version, because that is something I will be using to do the installation. So this is the complete executable link. So here you can download. So we are downloading the SDK U251. So just search for Windows 64. Yeah, this is the one. So let me click on this one. Let me quickly log into the web page. So once the login is done, you will be able to see that it's trying to download the exe file. So that was for the JDK, for the Java. Now for the Maven, I am going to go for the Maven download over here. So in this one, the Maven repo link is there. Maven.apache.org is the link for this one. Now here we have the different options. You can see here that the binary zip archive is there, then source zip archive is there. So depending on the installation which you want to perform, you should be able to download that file and it works there. So let's first install the JDK portion, and then we'll go with this one. So we'll click on this one also anyways, because it's something we have to anyways do it. So we'll click on this so that this Maven is also getting started downloading over here. So once both of them are downloaded, we will proceed further with the setup. So let's wait for another 1 minute to do this one. So the Apache Maven is kind of downloaded over here. So we wait for the JDK download also over here. So next 5-10 seconds only left out. So first JDK will be there, and then Maven installation configurations will be there. So for Maven, we just have to extract into a directory and give the MVN home path into the properties, into the variables, so that it can pick it up over there. Okay, so we have to extract the zip file for Maven, give the path, and then we will check with the Maven command whether it's working fine or not. So let's try to install the executable. So we'll open the directory where the executables are there. So first of all, we'll install the JDK. So we'll double click the installer for JDK. It's of around 200 MB. So the complete JDK will be installed. So we have to just go for next. Now when you go with the installer, so usually the Java home paths and all that stuff is already configured, so you don't really have to change the passwords or Java home any kind of variable. You have to put it up, all those things will be automatically cleaned up. So it's running the installation. Close. So then we have to extract the Maven. So we have to extract this directory because here the Maven complete executables and libraries are there. So we just have to extract it and place into a directory so that we can further on use it and access the path. So once the access is done, yep, so this is done there. So I can rename it to like Maven. So I can rename it like to as Maven, and I can cut it down and put it into the C drive here. Now this is the Maven home path which is going to be there, right? So all I have to do is that I have to close this one and this one and this one and this. So what we have to do is that we have to really go to the system properties so that we can extract it. So I'm going to open the system properties over here. Properties. Now here the advanced system settings. Now in this one we will be setting up the paths, so environment variable will go. Now here if you scroll down you will see all the different paths which is available there as such over here. Now if we want to see that if the Java is fine or we require for JDK also, so all we have to do is that we have to open the CMD prompt. Window R we are providing. So using the window R I'm opening the run window where I can say like CMD. Now in this CMD I'm going to say like Java -version. So Java is there, so which means that we don't have any problem as such. Now I'll just go here and set up a new one called mvn_home. So here the same path. So you can browse for directory also, but I am using the mvn home over here in this one. Now I have just added that, and in the path variable in the last we have to actually add the bin directory also, so that whenever we run the mvn command, so that should also be resolved. So mvn_home is not the only variable which you will be configuring. In fact you will be configuring the path variable also, that you can go ahead and put up a new directory entry for the cmd here. So cmd till the cmd directory you will go there, and whatever the executable is there you should be able to resolve that. So for that again you have to open the window R, CMD prompt, Java-version, and then you can run mvn-version here. When you run the mvn-version, it will let you know that which particular Java runtime you are using, 1.8.0_251. That's the same one which we have configured. And it also let us know that where exactly the executable is there, and we can now proceed further with the execution of the Maven build. So you just have to check out your source code or go to the directory where source code is there, and you can run the mvn clean install. So that will ultimately go for the build process. So this is the way that how we can do the installation of Maven on the Windows platform. Now since this is done, now we will go ahead with the second installation where we are going to do the installation of Maven and JDK onto the Ubuntu machine. So for that we will log into the particular cloud lab of Simplilearn LMS. So let's log into the LMS here. So now we are going to do the installation of JDK and Maven on the Ubuntu virtual machine here. So for that we will log into the LMS. So let's log into that. So this is the LMS over here. Here I have already started the lab here. So all I have to do is that I have to just click on this link here. So it will open the lab into a new tab. It's a GUI mode of Ubuntu server, so which we will be using to configure it. So here first of all I can open the Chrome browser also. So let me open the browser here so that I can download the Maven executables as such over here. So JDK we can do it using the package installation. So using the apt executable we will be doing the installation. So I have to just open the terminal here. So once the terminal is opened, you have to log in through the root ID. Now why we require root ID? So that we should be able to do the package installations and other configurations. So that requires root access. Now once that is done, you have to run the particular app update command. Next, you have to install the installer. So the Oracle installer we have to install. Now once the setup is done, so let's install the latest package over here for Oracle-Java 14-installation. So this will install the JDK 14 over here. So for that configurations. Now at the same time we'll go for Maven download also. So here we'll go for download Maven. So this is the tar file for executable. So I'm going to copy this URL here, and over here we'll say yes. So now the Java should be configured and should be set up over here in this one. So what we really need to do is that we need to run the Java command to see that if the installation is done properly or not. So let's open the terminal again, another terminal, so that I can perform the steps related to Maven. So I have got the URL, so I'm going to the OPT directory, which is always an optional directory where we can do the setup and all those configurations. So I'm going to run the wget command and then the URL which I have downloaded. So this should download the tar file over here of Maven. Now once that is done, so I have to extract it. So tar-xvzf and the tar file name. This is a tar gunzip file, so I have to use tar-xvzf parameter over here to extract it. Now what exactly I have got the Apache Maven directory over here, so I'm going to rename it. In order to rename it, what we need to do, we need to actually go for the particular move command. So move whatever the existing folder you have, and then I'm going to rename it with the Maven directory. Now once that is done, I'm going to the Maven directory, and this is the path or Maven_home path which is available as such over here in this one. So here all the bin directories, executables, all this stuff is there. So now I can use it like mvn_home and the same configuration just like we did in the Windows. So here also the same process we have to follow. So Java version should be let me know that which version is deployed. So 14.01 version is deployed over here. So for Java I don't have to set up the path again here because I'm using for the installer, so I don't have to set up the path, right? So for Maven, now what exactly I have to do, I have to go to the etc profile D. Now here I'm going to put up a particular file. Now here you can see that we have the JDK file here, which means that the path variables and everything is configured as such over here. So you can see that Java_home, path, all these variables are copied here. So I'm going to also create a same file similar to this one here, but in this case what I'm going to use it that I'm going to remove some of the values. So I'm going to have some of the parameters added. So in order to do it effectively, I can do the echo command so that I can copy the things from here and I can simply put it up into the file here. So I'm going to have the path variable added up over here. Now why I'm putting up the paths, because it's the same configuration which we did over there also. So opt/maven/bin. So all the bin directories should be added to the specific path variable. So I'm just trying to create a file called maven.sh. Just like a jdk.sh over here, I'm also creating similar kind of file over here called maven.sh. Now I'm not going in the VI mode or other editors because I just want to make you understand that how I'm copying it, the content. I'm taking the jdk.sh as a reference and putting up the details over here in this one. And then I'm going to export mvn_home over here, which is related to like opt/maven. So this is what we are going to put up over here, and then Maven. In the end, Maven, this is the file which you should be having. Now why we are using it? Because of the fact that it's being used, or it will be utilized in such a way that you can perform the changes or whatever configurations you want to perform. This will help you to set up the certain paths like path and mvn home so that you can run these scripts as such over here. So I'm going to give the executable permissions to this one, and that's it. So now what exactly I have to do is that I have to do the source here, profile.d maven Once that is done, I will be able to run the mvn-version over here, and the JDK part is already open, so it's going to refer to that part. So this is the way that how we configure the Maven and the JDK specifically on the Ubuntu virtual machine. So pretty much that's it for this demo. In this demo, we primarily talked about that how we can do the installation of JDK and Maven on Windows, and how we can do the similar task on the Maven on the Ubuntu virtual machine also here. So here we are going to talk about that how we can do for a specific setup where we can do for the installation of Maven in a Mac operating system. So let's see. So there are two ways of doing the installation here. First is through the brew executable on the Mac. Now this brew utility on Mac is just like apt or yum utility, which is present in most of the environments or most of the platforms here. But here we are using this brew to do the installation of Maven on the Mac operating system. And again, so next one is just a particular mechanism where you should be able to have the setup, like you can download the binaries from the Apache website, and then you can export the m2_home and the path variable so that you can start using the Maven executable. So we'll talk about these things, and we'll see that how exactly we can go for this setup. So let's log in to a particular machine or Mac operating system, so where we will be able to do all this activity. So this is the Mac system which we have here. Now in this one, what we are going to do is that we are going to open the terminal. So we are going to open a terminal here. So this is my terminal. So usually in Mac, you don't require any other mechanism. So the inbuilt terminal is more than sufficient for doing this stuff because it's similar to a Linux based platform here. So I'm going to run the command here. So first of all, I'll just double check that if my brew executable is working fine. So I'll just run the brew help command to see that if my brew is working fine as such over here in this one. Now I have the command called brew install. So that is a command which we need to use. Now in this one, we have to actually give the specific package which we want to install. So we will say like brew install Maven. So it will download the specific executables on the system. From the website, it will download the Maven executables. So it will take some time, but ultimately it's trying to download it and the particular tar file. So you can see here that it's downloading 3.6.3 tar file over here. So I can see that the installation is done. So the 3.6.3 version should be installed over here. So when I do like Maven mvn under hyphen version over here, so you can see that the 3.6.3 version is deployed as such over here. Now this is something which is done with a purely command over here called brew, which really helps us to do any kind of package installations. Not only Maven, other packages also can be installed pretty much with the help of this executable. Now, in order to see the manual stuff, what we really need to do is that we need to actually clean this specific installation so that I will be able to show you the manual installation also over here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to run the command called brew uninstall Maven so that the Maven should be removed from your system. So we are just trying to remove the Maven from here, and you can see that the Maven executable is not working as such over here. So which means that the Maven is uninstalled in this case. But why I have uninstalled here? So that I should be able to go ahead and download some custom Maven over here in this one. So I have opened the browser here. So I'll go for the Maven executable. So we'll go for Maven download so that we should be able to download a specific the executable here. So I'm going for this directory. So here 3.6.3 version same is available here. So I'm going to download the bin.tar.gz, which was the file we have. So this is also a kind of a Linux platform, right? So that's the reason why here the tar file should work perfectly fine. So here I'm going to the OPT directory where we can have all the optionals related packages. So if it is not there, so I can create a directory called /opt. So I can log in with root. So if you don't have the root access, so you can go for the applications. In the applications, you can actually create a directory called Maven. So here I can go for Maven. Yeah. So here we will be downloading the var file here. So the tar.gunzip file we are downloading over here. So I'll give the path here. So once the var file or wget command I am using to do the installation, but sometimes the wget is not available, so I can go for the brew install wget also. If that package is available on brew, the installation will be done. So we'll try to do the installation using wget so that we will be able to get a tar file generated or downloaded. There are other ways also. You can download it from the browser also. Yeah, you can go to the browser and here you can actually click and download it, and then you can transfer it locally to this specific directory also. So both the possibilities are there, but I'm just trying to download the wget command so that it will be easy for me to do the setup and to do the download over here. So I'm going to run the same command again. So it will download the tar file. So this is the tar file which is available over here. So I'm going to extract it over here. So once the extraction is done, so I'm going to rename it like to Apache Maven, so that I should not have any kind of versioning or these kind of parameters over here. And the Apache dot Maven hyphen this tar file I'm trying to remove as such over here. So this is what I have got as an end result over here. Now this is the current directory in which I have these applications and these setups going forward over here. So if I run the mvn hyphen version command, so that will not be giving me any kind of output over here, because still I have extracted the tar file, but that is not, the activity is not complete. I have to exactly set up some environment variables so that I should be able to run this mvn command. So what I really need to do over here is that we have to export certain variables. Application/maven Apache Maven. So this is the home directory which I'm trying to configure over here. And then next thing is that path variable. So I'm going to have, we are going to coordinate the path variable with the folder. So I'm going to have the folder structure here. So the bin directory we have to provide. So I'm going to copy here and paste, and then I'm concatenate it with the bin here. So now my environment variables are established. So my mvn hyphen version command, as you can see here, is that it's being picked up over here, but it's saying that the particular Java runtime is not available. So I can go for Java brew install Java. So that should be enough there to install a Java package there. So you can see that it says that it's already installed, so and up to date. So that's the reason why it's not able to do the installation. So I'm going to reinstall OpenJDK. Because what happens that when we do the installation, some environment variables related to Java should be formatted or should be extracted over here, right? So as you can see that here it's saying that if you want to really use the executable of Java, you have to concatenate the path like this. So let's run that, and then we can see that the particular executable of Java will also be find out over here. So Java hyphen version showing that yes, it's available there. And now my command should be able to show me that yes, it's working fine. The JDK was already installed, but the problem with that is that since it's installed into a particular location, so you have to actually override your path value so that you should be able to see in that directory and find out the Java executable. So that I have got by doing the deinstallation. I got the command over there in the output saying that this is the installation which is done, and now you just have to extract, or you have to just put that path directory into the specified path variable, and that's how you got the Maven and Java both command lines working over here. So this is how you will be doing the Maven installations all together, how the overall installation of Maven and the JDK really works on Mac operating system. Moving on to this demo in which we are going to talk about that how exactly we can create the Maven project into the Eclipse here. Now Eclipse is a kind of an IDE which is available there, and normally we use it for kind of a software development tool, as in kind of a development tool there, so that we will be able to do the setup and the configurations of new projects over there. Now Eclipse usually used by the developers to write the source code, and here we can create new projects. We can also clone some existing projects from the Git repositories also, and according to the Git plugin, as per the utilization of that, they can actually do the modifications, commits, merging, all that activity through the Eclipse. So Eclipse also support other projects also, other languages also, but primarily it's being used for the Java software development there. Now, Eclipse is something which is a quite common tool in among the developers, among the Java developers, and it also have the extensive support for the programming languages like Android, where the Java same runtime is utilized there. So it can be used for both the Java and the Android based applications. So it provides an excellent plugin into Eclipse that automatically integrates the Maven and the Eclipse altogether. So you don't have to specifically go for the installation of Maven. It will be automatically available there and automatically integrated within the Eclipse. Now Eclipse automatically downloads the required dependencies from the remote Maven repositories there. So while preparing or while working on the source code, you don't have to work on any kind of the dependencies or any kind of third-party jars if you are working on a Maven project. So automatically the dependencies will be downloaded by the particular Eclipse here. So the Maven dependencies can be updated with the Eclipse ID itself, because we can edit the pom.xml file. And you can also trigger the builds, custom Maven builds also with the help of Eclipse here. So Eclipse primarily supports that how we are going to build or how we are going to work on this whole build process there. And whatever the things is available and possible, we will be able to do it with the help of Eclipse as such over here. Right, so let's see a small demo on the Eclipse, how to create a Maven project, and let's play with the dependencies over there. So let's log into the Simplilearn virtual machine. So now here we have the Eclipse, so we can open that. So Eclipse is Oxygen version is what deployed over here. So once we open it, so what will happen that we have to launch it into a particular workspace. So usually this is the workspace which we can use. So we can click on this one. So it will open the window like Eclipse window IDE over here. Now we don't have any project, so we have to create a new project here. So all you have to do is that you have to go to the file, new, and if you want to specifically go for Java project, you can do that, or any other object you want to create. But I just want to create another type of project, so that's why I will be clicking on the project here. Now here you will scroll down, you will be able to see all the different kind of projects over here. So I just want to go for Maven, so that's why I've selected there. So I just need to proceed next. Now here we have to provide that what exactly we want to go for the workspace. So we are going for the default workspace here, and I'm not doing any kind of customization to that point. And when I click on next here, so I will be selecting okay, that I need to create a new project. So this is a particular mechanism of Maven that we can generate a particular Maven project with the help of this plugin of Maven. So I'll just click for next here. Now here we will be providing the value like group ID. So group ID you can change, but here I can say like Maven project. So that's the artifact which I'm trying to create, and version according to yourself you can do, like this one is there. So these things you can change later on also. So nobody is going to have these things hard coded and you cannot change later on. Later on easily you can change and modify these things. Now once that is done, so what you can do is that you can just click on finish, and with finish button what will happen that the project will be automatically created in the Eclipse. So if you expand here, right now there is no errors as such here. So if you open the pom.xml file, you will see the basic information like artifact ID and the group ID which we provided. But with that you also see the JUnit dependencies added up there, because it's a something kind of a mechanism which is prepared in case of ID, that by default it gets integrated with the JUnit. So which means that it's saying that yes, by default the test cases will also be created in the JUnit here. So you can see that app.java is the default one, like a default class file which is available there, and in the app test.java we have the test cases which is available there and written in JUnit. Now it's completely your requirement now, so you can proceed with the creating some class files and having some test cases. So you can add more and more code base over here, but this is a kind of a basic skeleton which is created as of now just to start the things up here. So these are the initial things which we are trying to do here, and we are just trying to create a dummy project, like an empty project, and later on you can keep on adding and keep on increasing the source code step by step. So this is a way that how you can create a basics project in the Maven in the Eclipse here, and it also gets integrated immediately with the pom.xml file. Now if I remove the dependency here, now dependency is very important in case of Maven, because if we don't have the dependency, for example, I remove this dependency here and save the file. So immediately what will happen that you will be able to see some error messages related to the particular JUnit here, and that is coming into the app-test.java. So the dependencies you can add, you can delete over there, but automatically due to that the error messages will also start coming up into the particular Maven project here. So you can see here that it started throwing an error related to JUnit because I removed the dependency of the JUnit here. So all I can do is that I can actually remove the particular dependency. I can undo my steps here and do the save again, and what will happen that all my dependencies will be again resolved and my test cases will also be successful now. So I don't see any kind of error messages over there. So it's very dynamic over here with the Eclipse, and the way you remove the dependencies, immediately it will be reflected into your Eclipse there. So it's not like you have to forcefully go there and run any kind of Maven build. It's not like that. So automatically you will be able to know that whether there is any kind of dependencies issues or any kind of executables which is removed from your Maven project here. Right, so that's it for this demo, and this is how we create a Maven project as such in Eclipse. On to this demo on the Maven and the Jenkins integration here. Now in this one we are going to talk about that how exactly we can integrate both the Maven and the Jenkins here, just to implement the CI processes over here. Now what is the purpose of Jenkins here? Now Jenkins is normally a kind of a CI tool which we use for performing the build automations and the test cases automation there. It's one of the open source tool which is available there, and one of the most popular CI tool also available into the market. Now this tool makes it easier for the developers to integrate the changes to the project here. So we can easily integrate the changes, and whatever the modifications we want to manage, we will be able to do that with the help of Jenkins. Now Jenkins also achieves the continuous integration with the help of couple of plugins. Each and every tool which you want to integrate have its own plugins which is available there. For example, you want to integrate Maven, we have a Maven plugin in Jenkins which you can install, you can configure. In that case you will be able to use the Maven there. Now you can deploy the Maven to build tool onto the Jenkins server, and then you can prepare or you can configure any number of Maven jobs in case of Jenkins. So what exactly the Maven or the Jenkins really do is, the Maven when integrates with Jenkins through the particular plugin, so you can able to automate the builds, because for automation the build you require some integration with the Maven, and that integration is what we are getting from the Maven plugin. So in Jenkins you have to install the Maven plugin, and once the plugin is installed, so what you can do is that you can proceed with the configurations, you can proceed with the setup, and this particular plugin can help you to build out some of the Java based projects which is available there in the Git repositories, and once that is done you will be able to go ahead and you will be able to process a complete integration of Maven within Jenkins. Right, so let's see that how we can go for the integration. Now I have already installed the Maven onto the Linux virtual machine which we are using. So using the app utility or using the yum utility, you can actually download the Jenkins package and the Maven package onto the server, onto the virtual machine. And now I'm going to proceed further with the plugin installation and the configuration of a Maven project. So I have a GitHub repository which is having a Maven project, Maven source code and the Mavenized test cases over there. So let's log into the Jenkins and see that how it works. So this is the Jenkins interface which we have over here. Now in this one what we can do is that we can create some Maven jobs over here, and once those jobs are created we will be able to do a custom build onto this Jenkins. So first of all we have to install the particular plugin here. For that we have to go to the manage Jenkins. In manage Jenkins you have the manage plugins option there, so you have to click on that. Now here you will be having different tabs like updates, available, installed, advanced. All these different tabs are available there. So what you can do is that you can click on the available one. When you go to the available tab, so what will happen that here you can actually put up that what exactly plugin you want to fetch here. So I can put a plugin called Maven. Now you can see that the very first one the Maven integration tool is available. So I'm going to select that particular plugin and click on download now and install after restart. Now once that is done, so what will happen that the plugin will be downloaded, but in order to reflect the changes we have to do a couple of restart. Now for that you don't have to go to the virtual machine. You have the option here itself that will allow you to do the restart over here when you click on this button. So you check this option and say that restart Jenkins when the installation is done. So what will happen that the installation will be automatically attempted whenever the particular plugin installation is completed here. So you just have to refresh the page again, and you will be able to see that the particular Jenkins is being processed as such here, right? So you can see that the screen is coming up that Jenkins is restarting. So it will take a couple of 5 to 6 seconds to do the restart and the login screen to come up again over there. You can do the refresh also if you feel. Automatically it will be reloaded once the Jenkins is ready, but sometimes we have to refresh it so that we can get the screen over there. So once the login is done, so my Maven integration is done. So next thing which I will be doing is that I will be creating a Maven related project. So I'm going to put the admin user and the password. So whatever the user and password you have created, you are going to put that so that you will be able to log into the Jenkins portal. Now this is the Jenkins which is available here. So all you have to do is that you have to click on create a new job or new item. So both the option is pretty much same only. So here you will be able to see a Maven project here. So I'm going to select like Maven build. That's the name which I'm going to give here, and the Maven project I'm going to select here and then press OK. Now here you will be providing the first of all the repository from which you will be checking out the source code. Now I can have a discard old builds over here. So if I feel that I want to have like a log rotation, so all the previous builds should be deleted. So I'm just saying that dates to keep build should be 10 over here, and the number of builds which I need to keep over here is 20. You can adjust these settings according to your requirement, but over here we are doing a kind of configurations which we are trying to do a lot of configurations and settings here. So these are the particular settings which we are looking forward as such over here. So now we are going to have the log rotation here. So we can have it like how many days we want to keep and how many number of builds we want to keep here. So both the values we are providing over here. And then now I'm going to put the git integration here, like the repo URL. So I have this repository here in which I have the Java source code and some particular unit test cases, and I also have the particular source code, and it's kind of a Maven project. So that's what I'm trying to clone over here with the help of this plugin. So this plugin will download this repository, it will clone it onto the Jenkins server, and then depending on our integration with Maven, the Maven build will be triggered here. So now I'm going to process with the Maven here. So you can see here that it's saying that Jenkins needs to know that where the Maven is installed, because that Maven version it needs to configure, it needs to process on that part. So I'll just do the save over here, and or I can click on this tool configuration. So I'll just save or do the apply, click on this tool configuration here. Now here you have the options like where you can have the JDK installation, but what happens that since Jenkins is running there, so JDK is automatically installed. So in the tools configuration you don't have to put the JDK configuration, but at least for the Maven configurations you have to provide that where exactly the Maven is available there. So I'm just saying that Maven 3 I want to process, and the latest Maven Apache web server I want to configure here. So I just want to have I just want to save this setting so that it will be automatically download the latest version Apache 3.6.3 version there, and that same should be utilized over here in this case. Now I'm just going to the Maven build configuration here and click on the configure part. So these git repository is available here, and in the build step it automatically builds up that what Maven environment you want to select. So you see that previously, since I did not configure my Maven environment, so it was throwing an error, but once I have configured that I have to download it during the build process or before the build, that utility should be downloaded. So instead of doing the physical installation of Maven on the server, what I have chosen over here is that I have selected the particular version, like I have selected that particular 3.6.3 version should be installed for the Maven purposes over here. Now once that is done, I'm going to put the particular steps over here. You can have it like clean install, you can have clean compile test, clean test, or test alone you can give. It's just a part of the setup or the goals which you want to configure here. It by default says that pom.xml file is the current one in the current directory you need to refer. You need to pick on that one. What it's up to you only that how you want to configure and how you want to process as such these information. So according to your requirement, you can say that, okay, I just want to go for these particular goals, and you can say like save over here. The particular configuration will be saved. Now you can just click on the build now, and you will be able to see that the first of all the git clone will happen, and then the desired Maven executable will be the build tool will be configured, and according to that it will be processed here. So you can see here that the Maven is getting downloaded, it's getting configured here. And once it's configured, because I have explained over there that 3.6.3 version I have to select, so that specific version will be configured and will be picked up over here. Now even if you don't have the Maven installed on the physical machine on which the Jenkins is running, still you will be able to do the processing using this particular component here. So you can see here that we have some particular test cases executed, and in the end we are able to get a particular artifacts also there. Since I did not call upon the package or install goal, that's the reason why the particular artifacts was not generated, var file or jar file, whatever the packaging mode is available at POM level. But still what happens that my test cases do gets executed, and that's what I have got over here in this case. So this is a kind of a mechanism where we feel that how we can configure a Git repository. Once the Git repository is configured, you are going to integrate the Maven plugin. In the Maven plugin, you are going to configure in the tools configuration that this and so version I want to configure to run my build. And once that is done, after that you just have to trigger the build and click on the build now option, and once that is done, you will be able to get a particular full-fledged build or compilation happened onto the Jenkins. And this log will give you the complete details that what are the different steps which has happened on this one.
This session, we shall see the differences between the two build tools, Maven and Gradle. We shall begin with seeing the basics of the two, followed by seeing the differences between them on the basis of some very prominent features. But before we begin, make sure you have subscribed to our YouTube channel and don't forget to click on the bell icon so you never miss an update from Simplilearn. Alright, let's now begin with what is Maven. If you are a Java developer, then this build tool would have helped you every now and then. Maven is a popular open source build tool developed by the Apache group to build, publish, and deploy several projects at once. The tool is written in Java and is used to build projects written in C#, Scala, and Ruby. Maven is based on the project object model and focuses on the simplification and standardization of the building process. In the process, it takes care of the builds, dependencies, reports, distributions, releases, and the mailing list. Maven is chiefly used for Java-based projects. The tool helps build the code and downloading dependencies and is used to develop and manage any Java-based project. It simplifies the day-to-day work of Java developers and helps them build their projects. Now, when we know about Maven, the next tool to be considered is Gradle. So let's begin with what is Gradle. Gradle is a build automation tool known for its flexibility to build software. Here, a build automation tool is something that is used to automate the creation of applications. The building process includes compiling, linking, and packaging the code. The process becomes more consistent with the help of build automation tools. Gradle is known to build automation in many languages like Java, Scala, Android, C, C++, and Groovy. The tool supports Groovy-based domain-specific language over XML. Gradle provides building, testing, and deploying software on several platforms. The tool is known to build any software and large projects. Before we move forth, we must know that Gradle includes all the pros of ANT and Maven. Along with that, it also curbs all the cons of both of these build tools. Now, let's have a look at the contrast between these two tools. We will have a look at the contrast based on 6 prominent features. The first point of comparison is based on. This answers the question what Maven or Gradle is based on. Maven is based on developing Java-based software and the goal is related to a project phase. Whereas Gradle is based on developing domain-specific language projects. The goal with Gradle is to add functionality to a project. Then comes the second point. The second point is the focus. What do these two tools focus on? Maven simply focuses on developing applications within the time deadlines provided. Whereas in the case of Gradle, there may be new features that might be added to the application while it is being built or developed. Now, the third pointer is configuration. As we know, Maven uses extensible markup language or XML for making the project structure. Maven uses an XML file for declaring the project and its dependencies. Whereas Gradle on the other hand doesn't use an XML file for the declaration of project configuration. Gradle uses Groovy based domain specific language for making the project structure. Moving forth, the fourth pointer is languages. When we talk about languages, we see that Maven supports software development in languages like Scala, C# and Ruby. Whereas Gradle supports development in languages like Java, C, C++ and Groovy. Now, the next pointer in our list is customization. If we consider customization, then Maven provides a limited number of parameters and resources. It can serve a limited number of developers and is not much customizable. However, this also makes Maven easier to understand and configure. Whereas Gradle is a highly customizable tool and provides a large range of IDE support builds. Gradle can be used for native development with C or C++. The sixth and the last pointer we shall consider is performance. Maven has a slower build time since it does not use build cache, which means it does not create local temporary files during software creation, hence uses extensive time. Whereas Gradle on the other hand performs better than Maven as it is optimized for tracking only current running tasks. This means it only works on the tasks that have been changed to give a better performance. Now, when we know the differences between the two build tools, it sometimes becomes critical to decide which tool would be a better fit for our work. So the next topic, how do you choose between the two tools? We know that both Gradle and Maven have their own set of advantages and disadvantages. Gradle is undoubtedly the more powerful tool out of the two. Still, it has many functionalities that are not always needed, and dealing with so many functionalities is slightly a difficult task. If we consider the tools together, we can conclude that Maven is great for small projects. It should be used when dependency management, modularization, consistency, lots of plugins and conventions are preferred. At the same time, Gradle on the other hand is fantastic when it comes to big projects and should be used when flexibility, ease of use, speed and incremental builds are of importance. And also, if you have started with Maven and now your project has overgrown, you can switch or migrate from Maven to Gradle at any point of time. I hope this will help you when it comes to choosing between the two build tools in the near future.
And with that, we have come to an end of this session on Maven tutorial. Should you have any questions or should you feel that you need the resources used in this session like PPT, code or the projects, then do let us know in the comment section below and our team of experts will be more than happy to resolve all your queries at the earliest. Until next time, thank you, stay safe and keep learning.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.